Hey, good morning, Sebastian.
Good morning, Harry. How are you?
Yes, doing well, thanks. Welcome everybody who is listening or viewing this on YouTube. This is our weekly show where Sebastian and I talk about topics in Webflow and marketing and agencies and freelancing. And we try and just talk about topics that not only do we tackle daily in our business, but also topics that maybe you come up against that you're not really sure what to do or how to approach it. So hopefully there's some things in here that we can help you out with. This week, we're talking about why communication is essential for your Webflow agency. And this could be actually, marketing agencies as well, anybody in the service-based industry who has clients that they have to talk to regularly. Um, this is like a really, really big thing, and you learn along the way, but hopefully we can help you avoid some of the mistakes that we have made so far. So, Sebastian, I was going to start it off with you. Why is communication so important?
I would say, in general, it's the relationship between your agency and the clients is really complex and can be really easily affected by doubt or mistrust. That you forget to tell the client something, or the other way around. The client just didn't tell you anything from the beginning, and I think that's why communication is essential if you want to succeed with your agency. I can only speak for my agency, and we get lots of clients from other agencies that exactly they didn't say the communication was, some say the communication was the problem, but when they work with us, it changed to more positive. I'm not saying
Sure.
we are perfect with the communication, but I implemented some things in order to keep a transparent and good communication with the client, which means
Sure.
like we have like a weekly update for every client. So they receive an email on a Friday where we quickly summarize what we did for them, and also invite them, if they have questions, to give us a call or to reply to this email. And of course, at the end of the month, they receive a monthly report.
Nice.
So
So
this is something.
every week in Sebastian's agency, they get a report on a Friday, and then they
Yeah,
get a report at the end of the month as well. What's the
yeah.
difference between the weekly report and the monthly report?
The monthly report has more details in it, like a table, the KPIs, and for the weekly report, it's just like where we say, yeah, this ad wasn't performing well, so we changed it. It's more like what we did
Mm,
to show the client what we are doing with his money, for his money. And it's not, of course, we are saying when the campaign wasn't running so well, but we are not going so specifically in the results. This is at the end of the month where they get all the really nice report. On a Friday, we just received like an email from our functional mailbox reporting at re7consulting.com, where we report to them what we did.
nice, really nice. And
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, how are you doing it with your clients? Because I know the with Webflow and the web designing process, it's like a lot of our big challenge, and there's also a lot of back and forth with the client.
Sure. Um, and it's a really good question, right? Because at the beginning of when I started, the process was not a lot of communication. We would get the brief, we would go do the work, we'd bring it back to the client. The client would say, "Yep, this looks great, but we have all these changes that we want to do." It would really long out the process towards the end because we'd be spending an extra 10 to 20
Yeah.
days in the changes sort of thing, rather than like getting all that stuff set in stone right at the beginning. So when we decided to become an agency and sort of change our process and how we were doing website design, we figured out actually if you collect all this information at the beginning and also you take them through a process where they have multiple opportunities to talk to you through it, then by the time you get to the end, the changes that they need to have made to the website should be minimal, right? There should be like 1, 2,
Yeah,
3,
yeah.
4, 5. So the main thing that we do at the beginning that I think is really important and something that our viewers could do as well is to have a workshop at the beginning of the project where you're doing all this sort of information collecting, and that's the real key part I think when we talk about communication. Sometimes we need to be able to not only communicate, but we need to be able to communicate like what does the client want and what do we need as well. And if we don't have that chat, then at some point later down the road they're going to be like, what the fuck is this? And we're going to be like, but you fucking told us to do this. And it's just like so stupid, you know.
Yeah,
So
I can imagine. Yeah.
So a workshop at the beginning is like it's really key, and think about like goals that you guys can collect. Think about KPIs as Sebastian said as well. I think that's really important. What are the things that we're going to be measuring success from on this project? Because the difference between charging really low price projects and really high price projects is the high price projects you're actually trying to achieve something. The low price projects, it's just like, oh, we're just building you something pretty and you
You're
can,
done. Yeah.
yeah, you can just walk away with it. And that is the real key. If any of you are watching who want to start charging, 10, 15, 20,000 pounds or dollars for a website, you have to get to that stage of web design, marketing, whatever you're doing as a service, where it's like we're trying to produce results here. And if I make your business an extra £200,000 this year, or €200,000 in your case, Sebastian, then it is 10% of that a big ask for you to spend to be able to achieve, that kind of result. I
Yeah, and
think,
I believe communication is really the key, because if you don't guys you don't communicate enough, or you don't understand each other, um, on the long term it doesn't work like this. So you guys need to be on the same page. Your client needs to understand how you're working, and you need to understand what is your client goal and challenges where you want to help them.
yeah, I totally agree. And I think once you have those sort of conversations as well, they kind of respect you a little bit more, right, Seb?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're more willing to talk to you about stuff. I had written down here as a little prompt to ask, what would you say the best communication sort of process is for project management? So we've just done the beginning of the project. Now we're at like the middle of the project.
Mhm.
So things are getting built, people are needing to talk to people, etc. What do you guys do, and how can our viewers copy it, I guess?
How we do project management in general, or
The communication with the client during this phase of
um,
like
um,
creating stuff, reviews, etc.
yeah, for us, lots of clients want to communicate somehow with us, not via email, because we email, as you know, is also a one-way street. We both are not biggest fan of email, so we use WhatsApp for this. And I got this idea from you, that you said, hey, you can write me, or I will check it once in the morning, once in the afternoon. So that's how we do it with WhatsApp. We check it twice per day, and then respond to the customer. So he knows exactly what we are doing. We keep him updated if he has questions. And another thing that we can do now, because we are now a bit bigger, so we have our account manager, which is handling the operative part, like running the ads, seeing that everything works fine. And then we have our sales manager, customer relationship manager, who has another relation with the customer because she brought him on board and so on, but she's not involved in the operative part. So she can go per quarter calling them and ask them, hey, how's it going? And you have then these two relations with your client. One is more like working thing, and then the other one like outside, more of the bubble. So where the client can, if there are things not working well and you know how it is. Sometimes you don't want to speak to the account manager and tell what's going on. So there's another relation with the customer relationship manager. You can say, yeah, I'm not so happy how we are doing this or how this is going, and then we can solve it internally. So I know this thing one face to customer, but I think this approach is also something really nice. So because there are different relations between the customer, and one is the working view and the other one is more the quality management for the customer view, you know.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Something that we do similarly to you guys, instead of WhatsApp, we just have Slack channels. So each client gets a Slack channel,
Yeah.
and then like you, I think just to go off of the point that you were saying of the checking twice a day, Sebastian and I are really big fans of not checking email and keeping everything inside like a project management system, or reducing the amount of time that we're spending back and forth talking on things. We're a little bit guilty because we talk about this show on Messenger sometimes. But when it comes to actually our agency kind of side of things, we're trying to be as efficient as possible. And when you have your own employees looking at WhatsApp or email every 5 minutes and context switching between tasks, then their performance isn't going to be where you want it to be. It's actually going to be a lot lower. So I guess this kind of ties into communication policy more so than like how to communicate with your client. But it's still a really important thing, because at the end of the day, guys, if you're constantly got your email open and you're checking it every 5 minutes, that context switch between your work and email is really bad for your brain. We're not used to it as human beings. There's a great book by Cal Newport called Deep Work if you want to read it more about it, and also a book called A World Without Email. But the idea really that Sebastian was alluding to is that at 9 o'clock in the morning, you check the messages, and then at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 1 p.m. after lunch, you check the messages again. And in this way, you're just doing it in batches, right? But I think the key thing there is making sure your client's aware of this, and that there's some sort of emergency number for them to ring if there is an emergency. Because if they don't get a reply from you and you haven't told them what's going on, then probably they're going to be like, "What the fuck? Why are Harry and Sebastian not replying to me today?"
And for the app, it's like, you know, we are spending everyday money, and we have clients that spend 20,000 euros per month. So you can imagine how much a day costs for them. And if their ad is not going well, of course they want to change it as soon as possible. Or if they spot a mistake or something that they want to change. So it's important that we reply, and we cannot say, yeah, we do this next week, you know, we got it on our list. So also on the weekend, we don't have clients that communicate or that call us on the weekend, but if there's an emergency, they know they are able to get in touch with us, and we are solving this even on the weekend.
Yeah, I think like emergency communication policies, having general communication policies as well, are just really important, right? To have as like, here's what we should do when this thing goes wrong, and be able to move off of that as well. What else, Sebastian?
I would say for the clients also note that I took is like easy, understandable reporting. Your clients are not familiar how Google Ads work or search engine optimization and so on. So you need to break it down to the minimum. Same goes probably for Webflow. You need them to understand that some changes are not done in 5 minutes, that they are taking a bit longer, and you should make them understand why it takes so long. I think this is also like another key thing that you should include in your communication. And what are we doing now is, we're doing this now the first time. We're doing this Net Promoter Score survey with our clients, where we ask them, how likely would you refer us to a friend or business partner? Please rate us from 0, not likely, to 10. And from this net promoter score, we get an idea how is in general the happiness of our clients. Like if they have 9, 10, they are like promoters, they would promote your business. If they are between 4 and 8, they would be like neutral. And if they are under 4, you know, if somebody else come or a competitor, they might change as soon as possible. And I think I find it's also important to get some feedback from the client in order to see what can be changed, because after they filled out this question, we have another one where we say, hey, do you want to say more about it? And this is feedback that helps us to improve. And I think it's also good to see for the client that we constantly trying to improve ourselves, that we are listening to them and do some changes.
I love that point, and I think it's just a great example, right, of like being upfront with your client about certain things, but also like not being afraid to actually ask your clients for feedback, or like when you're doing some internal changes and you want to figure out, okay, we're going to do some marketing now, but we want to find out where our clients actually get all of their information from.
Yeah.
Like you can ask them, right? At the end of the day, just send them an email and say, "Hey, doing a report, doing some research. We want to know where you guys get your content from. Would you mind just letting us know where these sort of places are?" As well as that, as you said, sending reports, sending reviews. I think a lot of people are scared of asking clients these kind of questions outside of the project, right?
Yeah.
But it's really
And
important.
yes, I agree with you. And the other thing what you mentioned was the discovery session. Some of our clients, when we mention, yeah, we want to have a proposal, and we say, yeah, we should first do a discovery session. Say, I just want Google Ads, you know. And this is all times, sometimes is this already a red flag, because it shows they don't care about much communication, which can be an issue when you collaborate with them. Because on the other side, they just want Google Ads, but they have some goals, but they don't proper communicate them with you. So that's why we have sometimes to explain why is it necessary to have a discovery session to understand them better. Most of our clients are like, wow, another agency has done this before. This is really nice and it's really good. And now I feel like you create like some trust with them when you have this discovery session. I think it's the same when you do this for your web design project.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. One way that we do it as well is when we're in the sort of cold approach kind of phase where they've just booked a call to have a chat with us. I did one of these only yesterday. We'll hop on a call with them and we'll look at their website with them on the call, and we'll just say, yeah, you could improve this here, you could improve that there. Just building rapport, right? Which is what you're doing with your discovery session as well. Building some sort of trust or like commonality where like you're getting them on a call, you're chatting to them, they can experience Sebastian from RE7, they can experience Harry from Imaginary Space, or they can experience you guys as well, and be able to figure out who you are. Do I get on with them? Do I trust them? Do they appear like an expert? All these like key things that are really going to help decide whether they're going to buy from you. One final thing I wanted to suggest to anybody who's listening, for the website design specifically, we always get bogged down with changes. I think everybody does, and changes can sometimes add up. You lose them in an email thread, you lose them in a Slack message thread. Clients don't know when they're getting done, etc. And I took this tip from A World Without Email. And all it is, Sebastian, is when a client now sends in a change for a website, they use a form. And that form feeds directly into our task manager. So
nice.
they can put their name in, their company. They can put in what they want. We've even included a little field for them to put images in. And you'll be surprised how many clients have sent me screenshots of their website with them scrawling and drawing over it. And then they can set, there's a really important part of it where they can select, would you like me to bill you after, or would you like me to provide a quote? Now, every website designer and maybe marketing team as well, billing after is like the golden option, because we don't have to do a proposal, we don't have to do a quote, we don't have to do back and forth. It's like a software product. We just do the work, we bill them for the work, and they know our pricing, so they know how much roughly it's going to cost. At the same time, if they choose quote, then we'll send them a quote. They say yes, then we start the work. It's pretty simple. But the way to think about this is changes and requests are dealt with like an IT ticket support system. So when you have an issue at a big company, or you have an issue with some software that you're using, you send in a ticket and the company stores the ticket. They let you know that they've received the ticket. They let you know that they're working on the ticket, and then finally the ticket gets closed once it's done. But by doing this, I would say that you will see a completely different change in your productivity because you have a system and a process to deal with changes. And I think that's the whole point about all of the communication stuff that we've said today. And I kind of want to leave on this point is that having a process for communication is the really important part here. Like, we're saying all these great tips, but at some point you and I came up with individual plans for these processes, right, Seb? And that's the whole part of it.
Yeah, really, really, really good point that you just made. And I think this is like, and you have good documentation when they make a ticket for you. You can go in the history and look it up. What exactly did they write? You don't have to speak with them, so something doesn't get lost in translation. Really good idea. I think you are using Coda for this, I guess.
Yeah, we are. But
Yeah.
I think there's lots of tools that can enable it. I'm sure there's like out of the box solutions as well as like build your own. So it's just finding the right fit.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that's really, really good advice at the end of our show.
Nice. All right. Well, if you have enjoyed watching this, please do subscribe or like. And if you're listening on anything else, then please do follow us. You can also follow Sebastian RE7 Consulting on Instagram, Sebastian Bayer on LinkedIn. You can follow me, Harry Roper. I'm on YouTube. I'm on LinkedIn, and then it's Imaginary Space on Instagram as well. This is our weekly show. If you have any ideas of what we can talk about next week, so we don't have to try and keep thinking about what we need to come up with, then let us know in the comments, and we'll be more than happy to answer this. If you would like to join us and come up on stage and talk to us for 30 minutes on a Friday morning, please let us know. You can send either of us a message or email, and we'll be more than happy to have you up. But apart from that, Sebastian, have a great day and a great day to everybody else.
And thanks for the show. Bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.